June 14th of the year 2025, Zeke leads a group of Miata nuts, plus a dude in a Lotus Emira and another dude in a GR Corolla, on his annual Oregon Insanity drive across the northwest corner of Oregon. This year the drive is named Oregon Bananity to celebrate the inaugural run of his yellow NB he has been resurrecting. The drive starts at a god-awful time early in the morning to allow a full day of activity. First up is an invigorating morning wake-up drive with a route along the south side of the Tillamook River. The road dodges and weaves over the hills and under the trees of a Lumpy bluff. As we start out, we carefully drive past some oncoming cyclists, giving us heads up of other road users. And, oddly at the same time, past a cemetery on the opposite side of the road. After the drive around the bluff, we pass back through the small town we started in, cross the main drag, and then head out on one of our favorite ultra-twisty roads heading south into a patchwork of logging hills. The rhythm and curves of the road are simply sublime and go on for miles and miles. Fortune favored us, we didn't encounter any other cars traveling in our direction. The way was clear and we enjoyed every moment of it. The southern part of the road tightened up with banked corners, one after the next, hugging a steep hillside. Left, right, we powered out of one corner only to plunge into the next. Utterly delicious. Once out of the hills, the road cut alongside several grassy fields as it mellowed out. Occasionally it would tuck under the trees and it felt like traveling through a leafy green tunnel. About an hour after we started, we pulled into a park along the shores of a lake in Veronia, a small town in the middle of nowhere. This gave us some time to stretch our legs and chat about the drive so far. On the way out, we rolled through town with its colorful storefronts and brick buildings. This year's drive took a wildly different routing from last year as road repairs were recently completed on a remote section after several years of closures. Zeke took full advantage and led us further south, crossing a bridge and then up some switchbacks through a settlement perched on a hillside. This section of road boasted some epic hairpins on the side of a steep hill. Recent logging operations opened views into the adjacent ravine and gave us good sightlines of the curves ahead. Once again we left the forested hills and continued south through Forest Grove, Gaston, and Yamhill. Along the way we skirted grass-covered hills and drove through hazelnut orchards as the gray morning overcast gave way to blue skies and cheerful fluffy clouds. The temps warmed up noticeably and it felt good to be in the sun. Finally we depart the rolling farmland and open valley and head west, up into the hills that separated the farms from the Pacific coast. The roads became narrower and steeper, the pavement condition roughened with dips, heaves and patches, and the trees closed in as we kept climbing. Sometimes clearings would suddenly open letting us look out across the hills. Light filtered through straight, tall timber. Eventually the flora would change as the road started following a creek with alders growing thickly overhead. The air was not as dry anymore and there was a welcome slightly musky scent from the nearby creek. We weren't the only ones enjoying the forest today, but we were probably out in the smallest cars. Lots of families were out camping, hiking, and enjoying the backcountry. Big pickup trucks, campers, and SUVs in all manner of sizes were stuffed into any roadside parking. And then there was us in our Miatas. Oh yeah, plus the other dudes in the Amira and GR Corolla. But it was apparent we were all part of the same crew. We gradually descended from the hills, still following the creek which had now become a modest river. The landscape started to open up into pocket meadows and we started seeing signs of farms on the way toward Highway 101. The dairy town of Tillamook was our lunch stop for the day as we came to town northbound on 101. We'd split up with folks checking out different options for lunch. My friend Joe and my son and I enjoyed dining at the Pelican Brewery pub on the east side of downtown. The plan was to gas up afterward and meet again on the north end of town at the Chevron station. From Tillamook we drove along the bay north through a pocket of blue sky. The Oregon coast can have several microclimates and already we could see increasing cloud cover on the horizon. But it was still plenty sunny for now. We left the water and cut through a pastoral inland valley. The road hugging the foot of the mountains while a pleasant little river would sidle up to the road momentarily before turning away again. Sure enough, by the time we reached the north end of the valley we were under full cloud cover. But the temperatures were very pleasant and still warm. One valley led to another and we were off in another direction on a new road. This one would cut further inland along yet another river taking us up and over more hills. The road here has always been fun with very tight bank turns, but it's also rough with some dips and pavement settling. A well-sorted and compliant suspension can soak this up and it'll still be a blast. It looks like since last year road crews have been patching the road. Unfortunately, the quality of repairs seems to have made the road even worse with lumpy paving and harsh transitions between old and new asphalt. Still, we get through it and enjoy the rest of the curves. Further up the coast we reached the town of Seaside, Oregon. There we again cut inland searching out delicious backroads. This region is typified by a topography of low rolling hills hemming in flood plains along a river delta. Low traffic, smooth, two-lane asphalt winds its way across this landscape near Astoria. After the river delta, we turn onto a forest road heading east, away from Astoria and toward the heart of woodsy hills in northwest Oregon. A mix of alders, maples, and sundry evergreen trees crowd over the road. Overcast light filters down to the undergrowth as we zip along, crossing weathered old concrete bridges spanning small creeks along the way. The day's drive was a big loop stretching down from the Columbia River on the eastern side of the coastal mountains, crossing over to Tillamook, and then working our way back north on coastal back roads before heading back to the start. But before we got there, we'd make one last rest stop at the Jewel Meadows wildlife area. We've stopped here on other drives in northwest Oregon, but this was the first we saw a herd of elk out in the field. A rare treat. We finished the day under sunny skies driving out on one of the super twisty roads we came in on, to enjoy it one last time. It was a long day but an epic drive with some great cars and fellow drivers. Weather was fair, wonderfully sunny for a big part of it with dry pavement throughout the drive. And we lucked out with minimal traffic slowing us down. The last stop was the same town and the same parking lot we started from. We said our goodbyes and then folks broke off and headed home. Thanks Zeke, for another great Oregon Bananity drive.